Alrighty then. Hey everybody, welcome to the show. Dana, you said you were ready right before I clicked go, so we're ready.
I've been
Um,
ready. I mean, no, actually, that's
you you
a
were
lie.
born ready.
Oh, not for this.
I know. So we're gonna talk about chapters 4, 5, and 6 of
Good.
Quicksand by Nella Larson in this stream, but we always do a little bit of chit chat first. Um, and I know you have had a very long day, and it's nice that you still wanted to do this period. So if we talk about the book for a little
Actually,
while and then you
don't.
decide
And I feel kind of bad about that. Like, I wish I do. I wish that I wanted to.
well, but my point is you're here.
I am here.
Yes.
I am here. I'm not here under protest.
Right.
I'm here because I want to be here, if that makes sense. I
That
hope
makes
it
perfect
does.
sense. That makes perfect sense.
But,
um
oh, gosh.
but if we only end up going a little while and you're like, okay, I'm done, you know it takes as long as it takes. I mean, we can blow through 3 chapters of
Yay,
discussion
we
and
have people. Hi, Jay. Hi, Sarah. I'm so glad you're here.
yay.
I mean, not that I don't like talking to you, Steve, but we ain't got to do that live.
Yeah, you can
You
do
just,
that whenever you want. Yeah, there don't need to be
well,
nobody.
no, well, I don't know. Maybe whenever I want. You're pretty easygoing. You don't have to worry about like when you get up. If I call you at like 3 a.m., you're like, Steve, I want to talk about this really cool idea. You'd be like, okay.
Just give me. I might need a few seconds to just kind of come
Sarah,
back to the.
no, 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 no. I'm not. I'm not. In the words of my housemate, I'm fine. But when she says that, she means I'm not going to die because of this.
Yeah.
So, like asking her how she feels, if she says she's fine, we get worried. Um, Usually we've stopped asking her how she feels because she's not really great at saying. I'm just I'm really tired. I've
Yeah.
been tired all day. I lost track of how many times in the last 24 hours I've broken down and cried. It was at least twice during the tweet chat last night about teaching. They started off with saying, let's see, what was the opening question? What is one of your hopes for this year? And I'm like, oh boy, why did you have to start off with that? That's fortunately I didn't tag my answer, so it didn't actually end up in the tweet chat. But I started off on a bad note. I'm like, so my hope is that none of my students, or ideally, if we're for a stretch goal, nobody at my school will die of COVID.
Yeah.
And then later on, because we were talking about teaching stuff, we were talking about differentiation and expectations of students. I'm like, I have all thoughts on this. They said, what is a way that helps you design lessons that have multiple entry points? And I'm just like, starting crying again. I'm like, lessons don't have multiple entry points right now. They only have one entry point, and the entry point is always the same. I'm so glad that you're here, because at least I know that you're somewhat okay. You're not like okay, but you're at
Yeah.
least okay
At
enough to
least you're
be
here. Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Like today, yesterday, and today, one of the students who was actually physically present in class was having trouble staying awake, and she said, I can't sleep." And today, she did her best to do her work. And what she said, I said, "How are you feeling? Are you feeling better than yesterday?" She said, "No, not really, but I have more assignments that I haven't turned in this class. So I slept last block and I'm trying to get caught up here." Just like, oh my God. I said, just talk to your teachers and let them know that you're struggling, that you're doing your best. We'll work with you. I promise. I don't take any points off for late work. It's going to be okay. All right. It's okay. Just do what you can. Keep us informed. Please let me know. Please, 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 please let me know. Yesterday we had meetings. Yay. The day before that and the day before that during planning, I called and I'm like, "Hi, this is Mrs. Colt. I haven't heard from the student in I don't know how long, like 2 weeks. Just not here anymore. Don't know. I remember what your child looks like. I hope they're okay.
Yeah.
Some of them aren't. There's a stomach bug going around, and some of them got COVID. And I'm just, oh God, we got an email from the superintendent, and it said that the numbers of reported COVID cases are going down, which is good. There's a part of me that's like, that's the number of reported COVID cases. That doesn't necessarily mean it's getting better, but at the same time, it's reasonable to think they're going down because there aren't as many students physically in the school building. Oh Lord. But I mean, the students who were there, they were just like, today, they were just like, it didn't help that we had a test today. So, there was that, but also, I mean, they got to read their choice books, and they posted on Goodreads about them. They seem to be enjoying those as much as they can enjoy something, right? I'm just like, oh God. Yeah, I broke down and cried during school several times. Made me very grateful that the room setup that I've got now has my desk facing away from the students. The original intent was so that I'm actually up at my podium teaching, facing them, and I'm not just sitting at my desk, to encourage me to, be more dynamic. Believe it or not, apparently that's a thing, that I'm not dynamic enough.
You're not dynamic enough
when I teach. Or the other thing is that I don't actually do enough direct instruction. That a lot of what I do is I give them work that's supposed to help them practice my direct instruction and then let them do it. So I don't know. Anyway, but the desk faces away from the students. Yeah. So if I need to cry, I can just sit down at my desk and answer emails and, just cry for a while. The guidance counselor eventually, got my text and came down and was like, is everything okay? I'm like, no, I had a panic attack an hour or so ago, but it's passed. I'll be okay.
Thanks for checking in.
Yeah, I mean, they're overwhelmed.
I'm sure they're busy too.
They're the ones who personally get to deal with that.
Yeah.
All the time. I have my students. They have the whole school.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Ooh.
Well, and I mean, I know because we talk every day. I mean, it's been like this for a long time. It was like this last year. It's been like this so far this year. It just seems like I know it's exhausting for you on a day-to-day basis, and it's also exhausting on a week-to-week and month-to-month, because it's like, oh God, how much longer am I going to have to do this? And there's no answer. It's completely out of your hands.
Yes, there is. As long as it takes, Steve.
Well, yeah, but you know what I mean, in terms of
in terms of an actual number,
I don't know. No, there's no, I mean,
but I mean, I've been in difficult situations in teaching before. Not this kind of difficult situation, but situations where, not that I thought about stopping teaching exactly. Although I have thought about what I want to do when I retire. I have a plan. So I'm not going to be teaching forever. Well, I mean, I'm not going to be teaching any public school in this particular. I will always be teaching. That's just it is. That's
but you're not going to be in this particular job forever. Yeah.
But I've been in situations previously where people have said, you can go to another school, and it'll be a different situation. I'm just that stubborn. And it helps that I have a really I'm not on all of the English department, except for me, is on this one hallway that we have kind of we have a dead cat building. The main hallway is the cat's spine, and then the legs go out,
right,
and the back legs go out. And so the English hall is the left foreleg of the cat's head is up here where the administration is. And
I such a vivid metaphor for how the school is laid out.
So yeah, but I am the cat's left rib, so I'm kind of around the armpit from the dead cat's left forearm.
So you're in the neighborhood, but you're not actually on the
Yeah,
leg.
yeah. So I'm
Yeah.
not on the English hall, and I got moved there, and I got new classes, and I'm just like, God, I must have pissed somebody off, which is not surprising given me. Oh boy. But my department head comes just to check on me, and she's
Yeah.
like all the way down at the paw. Okay, that's her. That's her room.
She
But she
comes up
comes
to
to
the
check on
armpit all the way from the paw.
past the armpit.
Wow.
Like, yeah, it's pretty awesome. She's really awesome. A lot of things we don't see eye to eye on, as far as like teaching philosophy and like just sort of worldview. But
Right.
she's sweet. She gave us like paper straws that have flamingos on them, because the flamingo is our unofficial departmental mascot. And I've told you that story,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I mean, we got the flamingo, and up here in my little ice cream cup, but it didn't have ice cream in it. It had, I hope you have, this was at the end of last year, I hope you have a flamazing summer. And so she gave us a little flamingo bookmark, and she's just really thoughtful and attentive, and she checks in on us, or at least on me, I guess.
Yeah.
And that's really helpful. And so as a department, we have different people with lots of different perspectives and lots of different styles, and it's just, I mean, people say, I do this for the students. I do it for the students, but I mean, there are students who need good teachers everywhere. But
yes, of course,
having collegial colleagues is like,
yeah,
that's really nice.
well, because I mean, even if you're not getting the support from administrators that you should be getting, you at least feel like you get support from your colleagues.
I do appreciate it.
That you're not on your own. You're not completely by yourself.
I do appreciate. I don't want to say I don't always agree. I want to say I often disagree with some of the stances that some of our administrators take. But first of all, I do believe that they are acting in what they think is the best interest of the students. Totally behind that. And it gives me an opportunity to practice patience, which I need to, and persistence, which I don't really need to, but strengthening that persistence
doesn't hurt.
doesn't hurt, and resilience, but mostly patience. The opportunity to practice, okay, accepting things for now,
yeah,
and then just writing it out and waiting and waiting and waiting. Strike. And that's how you win.
Just when they think it's safe to go back in the water.
No, just when their vacation is over and they've gone back somewhere else.
Yeah. Dun 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 dun.
So that's my week.
I'm sorry that things are so shitty for you. You know that. I hope things get better.
Too.
Yeah. Well, you're way sorrier about it than I am. I know that. You actually have to live with it.
I'm not really sorry. Is not quite the right word, but just empathy. There, I am accepting your empathy.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
It's very nice of you to accept my empathy that I am offering to you.
Okay. I mean, that's like,
not sure what to do with that, but
you're offering something to me. That's like saying, well, thank you for offering the pie, for accepting the pie that I offered you. I'm like,
well, but don't you think, okay, but don't you think like if I'm going to say this the way I just thought it. I know it's ridiculous now. And when I say it, you'll get immediately why it's ridiculous. But what I was going to say, my instinctual response to that was, yeah, but if you brought me a piece of pie and offered it to me, and I said, "Get the fuck out of here with that pie." Wouldn't that hurt your feelings a little? But then I
And what's my
realized,
response?
oh no, that wouldn't hurt your feelings at all. At least not for very long,
No.
because you'd be like, "Oh, cool, more pie." You'd be like, "Oh, I get an extra slice of
Exactly.
pie. He
You'd
didn't want
know me
his.
so well.
Awesome.
I'd be like, oh, you want the pie? Woohoo!
I get the pie. I've got a place for this. Don't worry, it won't go to waste." So yeah, but that's what I was going to say. Then I realized, oh no, that doesn't work in this instance.
No, bad example. But thank you. I needed the laugh. I appreciate it. So that was a Steve.
Yes.
That was a good joke. It may have been completely accidental and unintentional, but I will let you have that one because it
Thank you.
worked, even though it wasn't actually due to any skill on your part.
Wow. Even when you give it to me, you can't really give it to me. It's like
I even said that I
did. I chose to share it.
I am so glad that you did. I am so glad that you did.
That's hilarious. I'll have to tell Jason about that. She almost let me have a joke.
I did. I totally
know you did.
Let you have
did.
It.
You did, and then you immediately had to come back in and be like, "I mean, it's you didn't mean to say it. It wasn't funny because of your any creativity on your part. Actually, it was funny because you got something wrong. But nevertheless, it did make me laugh, so I will give you credit."
There you go.
Yeah.
Hashtag winning, baby.
Yeah, I will take what I can get.
Oh, those table scraps, ain't they delicious?
Ah, boy.
I need to quit laughing and not splash that.
Don't do that. So shall we spend some time talking about the book, perhaps?
Well, I mean, we've still got 2 minutes of chit chat.
I mean, I don't know what I can add.
We don't want to let anybody down.
I don't know what I can add to the proceedings.
My nail polish is beginning to flake. I need to reapply it. Yeah, no, that doesn't really work.
No, I mean, you're free to share any details about your nail polish situation that you want.
That's like a thing that people do on YouTube, right?
I'm told.
Okay. You have much more experience with this kind of thing than I do.
I mean, not with applying nail polish.
No, I mean,
be it for video or for not. I mean, No,
you just like chew yours. God.
Everybody,
savage.
you just. So I watched a really good movie last night. No, now. What's with I
haven't been able to enjoy movies.
I know. Well, and I was going to say, I don't know if this is necessarily, especially after what you just shared about some of the things that are making it kind of a rough time for you at the moment. I don't know if it's necessarily a movie that you would want to watch right now. Not because it's not really like a depressing movie or anything, but I don't know if you remember when we were recording the podcast last time, Jason reminded me of the movie The Florida Project.
I remember him talking about something like that, but refresh me with what it was about.
Well, I wanted to see it because Willem Dafoe is in it, and
you like him.
I love him. He's fantastic, and he was actually nominated for an Oscar for it. It came out, I think, year before last, and he was nominated for Best Actor for it, or maybe Best Supporting Actor. One of those. He didn't win because the Oscars suck, but he plays the building manager of a discount motel in Orlando, right near Disney World. And the movie is about a group of kids whose mothers are sort of long-term residents at the motel, because that's the only place they can afford to stay. So they do the thing where, they stay there 29 days a month and then they go somewhere else for 24 hours and come back, so that they haven't legally established residency, but that's where they live, And it's mostly about the kids and the sort of adventures that they have, exploring the surrounding area and scamming people for money so they can buy ice cream and, stuff like that. And the reason
one does.
And what I found interesting about it, in addition to, I mean, it's got really good performances. The kids are terrific. The acting is not just the acting, the whole style of it is very naturalistic. It's very sort of cinema verite. Lots of long takes, lots of handheld camera. Um,
I remember you like long takes.
yeah, oh boy, I wrote a whole script
7
about a
long
series of long
takes.
takes. Yeah, exactly. Oh, you remembered. Um, and
Yeah,
but
it was about baseball.
one of them was not all seven, just one of them was that. But anyway, so it's mostly about that. But one of the things I liked about it, besides those stylistic things that I enjoyed, was that it focuses on poor people. Like it's a movie about poor people, but it's not like a feel good inspirational, like look how brave they are, they don't have money and yet they
Like
find such
inspiration
joy in
porn.
life. Yeah, it's not like that at all. Not all the people in it are admirable people, but at the same time they're all human. And you see what people who are forced to live on low incomes need to do in order to make it from week to week. Like it shows you how, while there's a poignancy to it because the kids are mostly allowed to just run free and do their thing with other kids and just have fun because it's summer break, they're not in school. And like they don't get to actually go to Disney World, but Disney World is like right there, right? I mean, the hotels that where they live or the motels, I guess I should say, where they live are like within walking distance of Disney World. um, and so they have this little area that they can sort of run around in and have all these little adventures when you're 5 years old, while their parents are trying to figure out how to pay for
Yeah.
another
To
week
live.
to stay in this motel. Yeah. And so that kind of thing is refreshing, and that it doesn't have like an artificial, like melodramatic plot. The story stuff all comes from the needs of the characters. Willem Dafoe's character is a guy who is as nice and as kind and as giving to these people as he possibly can be, but he also has a layer of pragmatism to him where he has a job to do and he doesn't want to lose his job, so he can only
Mhm.
go so far, but he goes as far as he can within the limits of his
His job.
responsibilities. Yeah. And so it's a really interesting movie. It's um it's nice to see people being nice to each other, you know. and
You
and it,
remembered why I don't like Gatsby.
well, yeah, because I know, because that's what when we were talking about it today, you were like, oh, they're always assholes to each other. Um, and
Pretty much, yeah.
and people are assholes to each other in the Florida Project too. Like it's not like everybody's nice to each other, but
Well,
you know
no, but
what?
specifically like rich people being assholes to each other. Like when poor people are assholes to each other, like you could kind of there's that underlying tension and you feel for them. But when rich people are
Right?
assholes to each other, it's much more effective when it's somewhere like Knives Out. When you just get to feel
Yes.
like that was one where I was like, okay, because like we weren't expected to empathize with any of them
No. No.
at all.
Exactly.
Like
And it
that
was
that that was the way it was framed. Like
it was at their expense. Yeah. Exactly.
yes, I
Exactly.
was okay with it there. And
Totally.
also, I mean, Chris Evans still looked great. Mm.
And I think we talked about this when you first saw it. You can tell he's just having such a great time playing
God,
somebody
yes, he's
other than
like, I
Captain
am
America.
not Captain America in this movie.
He's like, I get to be somebody else, to just be a bastard and
So
have a great
somebody
time.
else.
Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, the Florida Project is a great movie, and I really really liked it. And that's now two movies from the last few years that Willem Dafoe should have not just been nominated but won an Oscar for, that he didn't win, because the other one, which is an even better movie that he made a couple years ago called The Lighthouse, that is a goddamn masterpiece, and he wasn't even nominated for Best Actor for that, and that is a travesty. They should tear down the Kodak Theater. That is such an injustice.
I okay, I will take your word for it, Steve.
He's
I will
so
let you
good.
have that one.
He's so good. He's so good.
Okay.
But anyway, so that's my contribution to the pre-book chit chat. I saw the Florida Project and it was really good.
The pattern. Well, I'm so glad you
The
enjoyed it.
patter, exactly. Yes. The repartee, if
Witty,
you
at
will.
least on my part.
Ah, boy, God bless you.
Your part too. That was I've not seen the movie, but I enjoyed your telling of it.
Like I say, I think if you're in the mood for it, I think you would enjoy it. But under
How
certain,
long was it before I watched The Shawshank Redemption? I don't know.
which, and I thought about you because we're doing Shawshank for our next late seating
Oh, for the
episode.
podcast.
Yeah,
Great.
and I thought about you after we picked it because I was like, oh yeah, because I
That's the
tried to
one that
remember
Dana didn't watch for like decades.
because you were waiting until you thought you really wanted to see it, so that
Yeah,
so yeah.
I knew I had I knew I'd be like blah 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 unless I was like I want to watch this I know I want to watch this movie now, and I did, and I waited. I'm like, yeah, that was good. I liked
you're
that.
you're the one person that, like, if you're in the wrong headspace, you would watch the Shawshank Redemption and be like, oh my god, Morgan Freeman, shut up.
No, the other guy, Tim, what's his
Tim
name?
Robbins.
Yeah,
Now, I
him.
mean, honestly,
Now,
even
see, the thing is, but like nothing to lose in that one. Like I can watch that at any time and
well,
enjoy. I mean, I understand, I appreciate his performance, but I enjoy his performance in Nothing to Lose. There
yeah,
are just so many moments that are just like, I'm right there with you. I guess that's good because it's good that I'm not right there with him in Shawshank because his
yeah.
life kind of sucks.
It does.
It
It
does.
does.
I mean, the moment sucks in Nothing to Lose, but it's just a moment.
Yeah.
Spoilers, sorry. But yeah, and
His
I
life kind of
mentioned
goes off the rails and Nothing to Lose as
just a
well.
little bit, but
Yeah.
then it goes. It ends well for
It
him.
does. Yes.
Sorry. I'm not actually even sorry. So there are spoilers.
Well, I mean, it's like
Um,
a 25, 30-year-old movie. Like, if you haven't seen it by now,
you should
well,
because it's
yeah,
fun.
you
It's fun,
should.
and
Yeah.
I even got you to gif that for me.
Yeah, the
unmask.
mask, yeah.
Wear a mask.
Well, what I was going to say is, I mean, and I like Tim Robbins, generally speaking, as an actor, and as a director, because he's directed some very fine movies as well, including Dead Man Walking. But there are moments in Shawshank when I'm kind of like, oh God, you know what I mean? And it's not for Morgan Freeman.
That's
It's for
exactly what I
Tim
was thinking.
Robbins.
I'm like, it's Tim Robbins, ain't it?
And it's
Ain't
just
it?
like, okay, I get it. Just, but I do. I mean, I really like the Shawshank Redemption. I'm not spoiling anything for the movie podcast, but I will say this: Shawshank Redemption it's this kind of movie to me. I really like it. I appreciate it. It moves me to a certain point. Shawshank Redemption is the movie that I think has probably spent the most time on top of the IMDb top 100 list, right? Like, according to user ratings, it's like the best movie ever.
Really?
Yeah, I know that is my reaction exactly. That is my
Okay.
reaction exactly. I think it's a great movie. I mean, I'm sure when I watch it again in a couple weeks for the podcast, I will enjoy it as I have enjoyed it every other time I watched it. But when I saw that it was like the consensus pick among IMDb
No,
users
but
for
but
best
that's
movie ever, that was my exact reaction. Really, Shawshank
see,
Redemption?
I would expect it from like Rotten Tomatoes, but not necessarily IMDb. But essentially, it's the way an aggregator works. Um, and that Sarah Scott didn't like Usual Suspects.
I like Usual Suspects, but I can see where you're coming from on that.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from on that.
it is so hyped that you
Yes.
sort of have to back yourself away from that. Like I like Frozen, it's a really enjoyable, really great movie, but like it's so like God, it like glutted everything for
Yeah.
like years. And like even at Disney World, they would mock the heck out of it. I mean, they were also kind of playing to the crowd. But yeah, but that's why like Shawshank is one that everybody can kind of like. It's like you guys, Shawshank's a good movie, right? Oh yeah. Like nobody's gonna diss it. Like
That
with
yeah.
Usual Suspects, because it's like it's respected, but it doesn't have that sort of glut that Usual Suspects would. Because people are like, yeah, Usual Suspects is good, but it's overrated. Like Shawshank never got overrated because it never got hyped that much, Does that make sense? And I think
Yeah.
that's why I was like, really? But I would see that more from like an aggregator, but I think the user, like the top 100, may
Right.
work that way. Similarly to the way that the Rotten Tomatoes aggregator works for like the critic and ratings. Like it doesn't consider whether you give it a 5-star or a 4-star rating.
Exactly. It
It's
goes
just
positive, negative.
versus negative.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so it's the overall consensus of positive versus negative, not how positive or how negative. That
Right.
doesn't
So
happen at all.
yeah, if a movie gets like a 99% on Rotten Tomatoes, that doesn't mean
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm nobody, Steve. Apparently, I don't matter. I don't count. My opinion doesn't matter to some people.
What are you getting at?
You don't know?
What? No.
You don't know? You haven't looked at the chat. Have you?
Oh, here's something we can all agree on. Moulin Rouge is terrible. You disagree on that, Dana.
I very strongly disagree on that.
We cannot all agree.
Moulin Rouge is awesome.
Why is Sarah starting shit? I blame Sarah for this completely.
I totally blame Sarah for this. Sarah, it's okay. I love you even though you are completely and utterly wrong on this.
Boy, I've heard that before.
Oh, so Radical times. Bacon! Wait for it! Bacon. Wait for it! Wait for it!
There we go. Anticipation.
What?
Is making me wait.
What?
Anticipation.
No.
Anticipation.
No. That's Radical Bacon. Please tell me that was a Rocky Horror reference.
Is making me. I don't. She's probably or they are probably making a Rocky Horror reference. I'm not making a Rocky Horror reference.
Yeah, well, that's why you can shut it.
Wow.
I mean, look, you versus Tim Curry, Steve. I'm sorry. I mean, really? Really?
I wasn't trying to pit myself against Tim Curry. I was just.
You were offering an alternative to a reference to Tim Curry.
You know what?
Chicken butt.
I withdraw it.
Good. Good for you for realizing your limitations.
As Clint Eastwood once said in a Dirty Harry movie, I think it was the second one, a man's got to know his limitations.
I haven't seen any of those.
The first one's good.
I'll take your word for it. That came out back when I wasn't allowed to watch them fighting movies.
Well, yeah, no, I think it came out before you were born, actually. The first Dirty Harry, I think, was 1970, 71, so something like that. Early 70s was the first Dirty Harry, I'm pretty sure.
Oh.
Anyway.
Tim Curry.
Back to Tim Curry.
What a treasure. Okay. Tim Curry, Clint Eastwood.
My answer will upset you.
No, it won't.
Clint Eastwood.
It'll just disappoint me. I'm not upset, Steve. I'm just disappointed.
Clint Eastwood.
I'm only moderately, because here's the thing. I'm used to you being wrong.
Wow.
Let's go to the book.
Okay, let's go to the book.
Because I can just pick on you and enjoy myself for the next hour and a half. And it'll be 8 o'clock. Be like, okay, time to go to bed.
I know.
Congratulations, Radical Bacon.
Yeah, congratulations. Ooh, coding boot camp. So you're learning to code, as I've heard that you're supposed to do. Isn't that what they say? Learn to code. That's like a thing. I don't know. I didn't.
Well,
so.
All right. So we're reading Quicksand.
Yes. Chapters 4, 5, and 6 was the assignment for this time around. And if you recall, at the end of the last chapter, our hero, Helga, quit her job teaching at an exclusive all-black school in Georgia.
Nice little double reverse there.
Yes, that's right. That last scene was really nice because she came in determined to quit, and then the principal talked her out of it, and then the principal kept talking and talked her right back into it. So she ended up quitting
right
after
back
all.
Where she had been.
Yep, she's like, nah.
That was interesting and fun. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, I know. It's
no.
like
Okay.
what? It's like I am leaving. No, I'm staying. I'm definitely leaving.
Like it's interesting because I wasn't even that invested either way, but it was just interesting to watch that develop. Helga is God, she's so full of herself. She's so full of herself. And we see
Yeah.
more of that in these chapters because she
Oh
like
yes.
I'm kind of jumping ahead to the why. All right, so go ahead.
Okay. Well, yeah. Well, yeah. We'll get there.
She leaves.
So she leaves, and she doesn't just leave the school, and she also breaks up with her fiance, and she's
Oh
not
yeah,
just yeah.
that didn't take very long.
No,
They didn't
no.
spend a lot of time on the
I don't
fiance.
think we even got a scene of that. I think
No, it's just a reference to it having happened.
she references that she's going to do it in, I think, in one of the chapters we read last time, and then as chapter 4 begins, she has already done it, and
Yeah.
she's on her way. She's leaving Georgia, and she's going to Chicago, which is where the closest that she has to family is.
You went too far. It's like the death of Lady Macbeth. It's like, wait,
Nice.
isn't this important? Why does it happen off stage?
It's like she's like the second most important character in the play. Why did?
In
Oh,
fairness, that happens
okay.
later on when she's been established as being important, whereas we're only a few chapters into this book.
That's
and
true.
we were thinking the fiance was going to be important, but apparently not.
Apparently not, unless he makes a comeback, which I don't.
Which we'll find out later.
We'll find out, but it doesn't look good because he doesn't show up at all in these chapters. But yeah, so she's on the train. The chapter 4 is she's on the train and she's on the way from Georgia to Chicago, and it's I think she says it's like a 10-hour trip, which I don't know. I thought it would even be longer than that. I was like, is it only a 10-hour train ride to Chicago from Georgia? But whatever. And Atlanta, like in the middle of Georgia, to Chicago. But whatever. She says it's about 10 hours.
It's north-ish.
And so, the train ride isn't fun. And she.
The other thing is, trains, like roads, kind of go around stuff. Train tracks, they go straight.
Straight through, yeah. One of the advantages of the train as a mode of transportation, which I've always favored. And while she's on the train, she's sort of thinking back on her life and how she got to this point. She's having some reservations about having left her job and her fiance behind. Huh?
Yeah, the whole, living in a capitalist society thing. That's
like maybe I'm acting a bit rashly. I don't know. And she thinks about her mother and her mother's life, and she wonders, what her mother would think of her, and she wonders if her mother was happy when she was alive. And she mentions her only surviving, or her only relative that she has had any kind of contact with since her mother died, which was her Uncle Peter, who was her mom's brother, who took care of her after her mom died and sent her to school and just sort of, put her on the right track. But she hasn't seen Uncle Peter for a long time either. So, but that's why she's going to Chicago, because Uncle Peter lives in Chicago and he's basically it for her. Like the plan is get to Chicago, see Uncle Peter, maybe get some money from him, and then figure something out, find a place to live, find a job, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's really mostly chapter 4. I mean, there's a little bit of business where she starts out, she's sort of sitting in the coach car with everybody else, and then she eventually talks her way into a private car where she can lay down and sleep for a while. But
yeah, you know what just occurred to me?
Yes, what?
You know who she would get along with?
Who?
The characters from Moulin Rouge.
Oh my god!
Like seriously,
why do you say that? Why do you say that?
Because she is this, she is this overwrought, self-absorbed character who thinks of herself as an artist who believes passionately in her ideals. She believes, I guarantee you, she believes in freedom, truth, beauty, and love. I guarantee you she believes that with her soul, and she is quitting her job that is just, it's all about money and fitting in, and she is going to pursue her ideals somehow. Not really sure how, but she's gonna do it. And like, she would fit in so well with like the narcoleptic Argentinian and the dwarf who plays the part of the sitar who only speaks the truth. She would fit right in with them.
Do you know the difference between her and them, though? I mean, the big difference is
Well, the
that
two that I mentioned are dudes, but other than that,
other than that, the
well,
difference,
also she's black.
not too many black people in Moulin Rouge are there. I think there's like that one guy uh, who doesn't do anything.
I
Any,
know, but like I was waiting for him to tip off because she says that she's going to run away, and I was waiting for him to tip them off, but he didn't. I was kind of surprised at that because like she's putting the entire company at risk.
you thought the movie would be even more racist than it is by having the black guy snitch out the white lady who's trying to run away.
Why would that make it racist? Like he's standing up for his comrades, you know?
Sure. Okay. Anyway, the thing that makes Helga different is that I don't want to stab her in the face with a broken bottle.
Yet.
That's what. Well,
I don't know.
Yet.
I think she's
Good.
she's
Very
heading
good
that
point.
direction.
Very...
Like I said, she is so like I am not a fan of Helga. She is so full of herself. I am such like I do believe in freedom, truth, beauty, and love, but I recognize that we live in a capitalist society.
Yeah, you need to be a little pragmatic. Yeah.
Or a lot pragmatic. You can keep your ideals and still say, okay, like I can't pay the bank that owns my house that to which I owe the mortgage with freedom, truth, beauty, and love. If I say, I'm a school teacher, we don't get paid much, but I do something that is valuable, that is meaningful and worthwhile to the future of our society. I shape young minds. They'll be like, yeah, but we want money.
Yeah, they'll be like, well, the payment is still due on the 15th, so sorry.
Yeah. So anyhow, hi Rose and hi. Somebody else popped in earlier and I didn't say hi to them. Hang on just a minute.
I think David.
David, was it you?
David.
Hi,
yeah.
David.
And also,
yes, David said howdy. It's so good to see you. I'm so glad you made it. And yeah, Radical Wagon. Coding is a skill that is not. It's not one, it's a specific skill. It uses kind of like, I was saying earlier about the importance. I don't think this was on the stream. I think it was earlier when we were just getting stuff set up about the importance of the underlying skills of seeing patterns and things that. There's some of that goes on with coding as well, but coding itself and knowing the different coding languages and the differences between them, it's very much like learning, it's like learning a friggin' Mandarin. Because the grammar is different. It's not the same as like English grammar. There are some similarities, but I keep losing track of, like I know what a for loop is, but I've forgotten, and things like that. I'm like, I know this, but I haven't used it in forever. And so it's like gone. So yeah, don't sell yourself short, Radical Bacon. That is an important, that is an interesting thing to learn, and you should be proud of yourself for even just making the attempt.
Yeah, and I want to point out something that back to the book that Jay points out from the chapter 4 in the chat, which is there's a guy who walks through the train car who spits on stuff. And he spits on a panel of the floor. And then he also spits in a bucket of drinking water, which is gross, and he should have been beaten to death for that, but he wasn't because it was the 20s, and presumably he was a white guy. I think he was a white guy, and he's going through the black car, and he's just like, "Fuck you," and he's spitting on everything, and he should have been murdered, but he wasn't.
No. I don't think that's possible. Murder is when you kill somebody and it's wrong.
That's true. He should have been killed.
Executed.
A nice morally neutral to executed.
Exactly.
It should have been a
morally justifiable.
A completely morally justifiable killing should have taken place. But and it's such a vivid, gross detail that it's like, boy, she must have seen that in real life, because
although fun thing that's one of the things when somebody says, if somebody disrespects you and somebody says something rude to you, you wouldn't punch them. And I'm like, no, because the person who throws the first punch, the first person who initiates physical contact starts the fight, and they get into more trouble legally. So
you provoke them.
Huh?
You provoke them to hitting you first.
Well, yeah, but essentially what people have asked me is, if they've said something disrespectful to you, essentially you could, theoretically say something just disrespectful back, but that's not really getting them back. That's letting them have their say. You say something disrespectful, you're just kind of letting it go. You're like keeping it even. No,
Yeah,
what you do is you look at them and you spit at their feet, because what that implies is you're not even worthy of my spit.
right. And it's still, but it's
And
still provocative.
and then you get punched, and
Yeah.
then you can just take them then.
Then
And now
everything you do is nice and legal. I like
I've never
radical.
really had the opportunity yet, so we'll see.
I like Radical Bacon's term, unalived. He should have been unalived.
Oopsie. Just made
He,
to go away
he's dead now.
permanently.
Oopsie.
He's gone.
He's
No, no,
dead
no,
now.
not dead. Just gone.
Just
We're
gone.
fine with gone.
He's
Just
unalive.
like you say, like you say about my driving. I'm very forgiving once they're not in my way.
Once the problem is no longer in front of you, it's like, let him go.
Exactly. I'm fine with them once they're out of my way. God.
It's like once he's dead, I don't care if he goes to heaven or hell, whatever. It doesn't matter to me. Just as long as he's dead.
Oh, Sarah, that's interesting. Like, I don't know that word. Like, I know the words. It is a fray or a fracas, but
a fracas.
yeah.
You have been charged with engaging in a fracas. How do you plead?
Sorry, Picard. Please forgive me.
Wow, I wasn't going for Picard at all, but thank you.
Let's go back to the book.
Mr. Crusher,
I'm sorry.
were you involved in a fracas? A fracas. Picard would say fracas.
It's fracas.
Have you been involved in a fracas, Wesley?
No, he's way too old for me.
Have you Have you been roughhousing? Anyway, yes, back to the book. There's the gross guy in chapter 4 who spits on everything, and he should have been killed, but he wasn't. It's not a just world. So chapter 5, she gets to Chicago. This is the place where she was born and where her Uncle Peter still lives.
She meets her aunt. This woman is her aunt.
God.
Okay,
yes.
This woman is her aunt. This
she
woman
does
is
now.
Married to her uncle, to her mother's brother.
She doesn't.
Okay?
But she says that she's not.
Well,
because
she's
Uncle
wrong.
Peter. Well, the thing is, and of course, we're it's a racial issue as well, because Uncle Peter is on her mother's side, so Uncle Peter is white, and so is his wife. So this black girl or mixed race girl shows up on the doorstep and says, "Hey, I'm here to see my Uncle Peter," and Uncle Peter's wife is like, "Oh no,
It is you."
No, this isn't gonna happen," and basically tells her to get lost.
Yeah, and so because we were talking about this earlier, and it's not like she presents it as, because that's what like was confusing, because she's like, well, he's not really your uncle, and so we we're like, wait, is it like her mother's brother-in-law? Like they're not actually really? No, they're like biologically brother and sister, but the way that the aunt presents it is, you're not really his niece because your mother and father weren't married.
Right.
Never mind that you're your mother's daughter. Like, there's no question about that.
There is a genetic relationship, but never mind.
That's pretty clear.
Yeah. Yeah. So she is no help at all. She says, like, you're not going to get any help from us, and he was very kind to you in the past, but now that's over with.
You've had enough.
You've had enough.
Like, really, she's not like particularly vicious.
No, she's very cold.
Clear.
Yeah,
she's very cold, very cutting, very clear. And also, it's also like Helga is like, wait, he's what? He's married? What?
Right.
Because kind of like, so she's not prepared for like meeting this nasty lady, and so she's not ready for it. And I think that Radical Bacon, yes, blue curacao and vodka and Diet Not Sprite. So pretty simple stuff, but
Diet Not Sprite.
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm paying for the brand name. Besides, like, Yeah, no. I'm cheap.
And yet you mock me for drinking lemon lime flavored seltzer.
I don't mock you because of like the
You
expense. You
mock
can
me.
drink like the Buble version, or what's the other one? The one that everybody makes fun of. Like
I
it's
don't know.
like a lemon spritzed in the direction of the seltzer one.
I can't remember the name, but I know which one you mean. Yeah.
But you know the brand. Anyway, no, that's not why I mock you. I do approve of you drinking the less expensive version of,
Thank
you
you.
know, disgusting bubbly water.
Actually, if they had the Canada Dry version, I would probably get that, even though it would be a little more expensive because the Canada Dry flavored seltzer has more carbonation to it. It has a little bit more of a bite.
The
I like
Canada
that better.
Dry seltzer also has, I don't know, sweetener.
No, it doesn't. No, I'm talking about
No,
seltzer,
no, no,
like the
no, no,
Canada
no,
Dry
but
seltzer.
the ginger ale, the
The
ginger
ginger,
ale
the
has
ginger ale, yeah, yeah, and the ginger ale is great. I like ginger ale too, but you know,
then why object to drinking sweetened seltzer?
because it's just like drinking water. It doesn't have calories. It doesn't have sugar.
Neither
It's
does
like
the one with artificial sweetener. It
why
doesn't
are
have
you
calories. It doesn't have sugar
why are you this invested?
because it tastes better. I care about you, Steve. Like,
It's
why? Why do you suffer? You suffer like you've gotten used to it. You don't even know you're suffering. Sarah, exactly. What's wrong with sweetener? What's
Nothing's
wrong
wrong
with
with it.
Steve Shives?
Nothing's wrong with it. I just if I can get a
You
product that
like sweetener.
if I
What's
can,
wrong with you? Why do you like things that are bitter and
if
taste
it's not
nasty?
bitter, it doesn't. If I can get a product
Sarah,
that I like,
no, sweetener does not have calories. Sweetener does not have calories. What does have
radical bacon.
Hush. What does have
Wow.
calories is the filler that they add. Like if you get the sweetener packets, they're 4 calories each, but that's because they add dextrose to sort of pack it out. Because like whether it's sucralose or saccharin or whatever, it's just little bits. I am Rose. He needs it. He needs it.
Radical Bacon says you're invested like a Bitcoin
so
bro.
they add filler in there so that it takes up a little more space so that you actually get all of it poured into whatever you're doing. Oh.
Anyway. Boy.
So yeah, it's a minuscule 4 calories. 4 calories per sweetener packet. And when you get it in liquid form, it doesn't have the filler. So there. You can get a 12-ounce soda. And when it says it has, because in America, if it has under 5 calories, it doesn't have to report the calories. So that's why in like sticks of sugar-free gum, it'll say 0 calories. But if you like look it up on like nutritional websites, it'll tell you that it has usually 3 or 4 calories per stick. Likewise, when you have and oh no, I don't think I actually used Diet Not Sprite for this. Because I noticed that it was flat and I wanted something bubbly. So I think I popped a can of cherry limeade. So there's cherry limeade in this. At any rate, it's, yeah, but I mean, it's so low. Like, I mean, I don't think when you get a sugar packet or like the packet of sucralose that there's even a calories worth of there's even a calorie from the sorbitol itself. Radical Bacon, yes. Alcohol is the great unnamed macro, the unrecognized macro. 7 calories per gram. And yet, it's so nice.
The great bane of your existence. How often I have heard you lament, if only alcohol had no calories.
God, if alcohol had no calories. Like,
you would be dead. You would be dead.
I would not. I would absolutely not be dead. Because I'm cheap. And when you barf up the booze, that's wasteful. And I'm not going to do that. And also, I barf up the booze before I get alcohol poisoning.
That's true. You're alcohol poisoning proof, apparently. Proof. Proof. And it's alcohol. God, I'm so good. Anyway, so she leaves her uncle's house.
Lovely, lovely calories, Sarah. Yes.
She leaves her uncle's house
She
and
was running off into the night.
yeah, she's not having a good time. When she was in the street, it says she ran. Her only impulse was to get as far away from her uncle's house and this woman, his wife, who so plainly wished to dissociate herself from the outrage of her very existence. She was torn
This
with
is the best
mad
part.
fright.
This is the best part. This is the best part. I love the writing. Do you know why? Do you know why, Steve? Do you know
Why?
why?
Because it's super overwrought. Why? Because it's purple.
Yes! Yes!
Purple prose.
That may be true.
Purple prose.
Bar, I'm guessing tastes significantly better. I'm just guessing.
I've never eaten a stick of dynamite.
But like I said, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And also, Sarah, that also depends on the size of the Snickers bar and the size of the stick of dynamite.
True. I mean, for all I know, nitroglycerin is delicious. I've never had it.
Precision matters.
You know. Now I'm thinking of that Stuart Lee bit about when Mr. System 96 mentioned cider, I go right to a pear cider made from 100% pears. You've never seen that. You have no idea what I'm talking about. But Stuart Lee has this endless stand-up bit that is so funny, that is built around the idea that in his family, a very popular phrase passed down from generation to generation is the phrase, "Give it to me straight, like a pear cider made from 100% pear." And that turns out to be an advertising slogan, and he has a mental collapse as a result of it, and it's hilarious. Anyway, so she's running away from her uncle's house, and she bumps into a guy, and it says, she stopped to kind of check herself out. And it says, here a man, well-groomed and pleasant-spoken, accosted her.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, and it says, on such occasions, she was wont to reply scathingly. But tonight, his pale Caucasian face struck her breaking faculties as too droll. Laughing harshly, she threw at him the words, "You're not my uncle." So, but she's staying in at the YWCA, and she goes back to her room, and she starts trying to plan what her next move is, because she knows now that she can't count on her uncle for anything, so she needs to find a job. And she has this idea she says, "Oh, I know what I'll do." I mean, she knows that she can't get a teaching job because it's March and it's the middle of the school year, and she's never going to find a job at a school. But she thinks, "Oh, I know what I can do. I can get a job at the library. That's what I'll do." And that's where we sort of leave her at the end of chapter 5. She gets up at the beginning of chapter 6. She gets dressed up, not super nice. It says she dresses herself carefully in the plainest garments she possessed, because she doesn't want to dress too dressily and showy, because, she's going to get a job.
The library.
Exactly. She's going to get a job at the library. So she doesn't want to, be too ostentatious. So,
okay, so pause.
Yes.
Because Sarah says that nitroglycerin is sweet. And that made me think of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Which we were talking about yesterday.
Yes, because they talk about gelignite. And the word that they use to refer to it is jelly.
Jelly.
They call it jelly.
That's not going to get anybody killed, is it?
Well, no, the mobsters are talking in sort of mobster code, so the children hopefully won't understand. They say, and then Soapy can use the jelly. And Jeremy and Jemima figure out Jemima figure out that they need to use the gelignite to blow up the candy store so that they can rob it. Oh gosh, you've got to read Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Maybe that can be our next book.
Maybe you can choose that for your next book.
Yay!
So she goes to the library,
Radical bacon, you need to make that into a poster if it ain't already. Okay, so she goes to the library.
Speaking of libraries,
Yes.
she goes to the library, and it turns out you can't just walk into the library and ask for a job. It says,
What?
it says in less than a quarter of an hour, she came out in surprised disappointment. Library training, civil service, library school, classification, cataloging, training class, examination, probation period flitted through her mind. How erudite they must be, she remarked sarcastically to herself, and ignored the smiling curiosity of the desk person as she went through the hall to the. So she is kind of a dick.
Well,
She's
let me point out that I am a high school English teacher.
Yes, indeed you are.
And I had to apply to be a volunteer at the library.
Yeah.
And then after I sent in my application, I had to wait, I think it was at least a month before they got back to me. I get to go tomorrow. I get to go tomorrow to my first volunteer day. I'm really looking forward to it.
At the downtown library in Chattanooga, right?
Yes, yeah. Where I do not have a card, but I think if I do like 10 hours of community service, volunteering, then I get a library card for free.
Nice.
Which is awesome because I don't actually live in Chattanooga. So it used to be $10 a year. And I eventually they had a deal where you get 3 years for $25, and I was like, okay. And I remember that was the last time I renewed my library card there, and I got it for 3 years. And literally the next month they said, we're increasing our price from $10 a year to $50 a year. I'm like, whew, I'm glad I renewed it for 3 years. And then after that was like a decade ago.
Yeah.
And since then, I have surreptitiously been using my mother's library card.
I won't tell nobody.
Don't tell the library. I think they suspected, but I think many librarians are secret anarchists and are just like, it's okay, we'll give you the books.
Yeah. And they're just nice. They're just nice. They're just nice people.
Sarah Scott, honey, they're not herpes kisses.
Hopefully not.
That's not something that you want to try.
That's real different.
And no, they don't suffer. Hershey's Kisses are cheap chocolate. Everybody knows this.
Yeah. Although I have been told, I've never had the occasion to study it personally, but I have been told that chocolate over here is apparently a lot worse than chocolate in Europe because of the way we make it. Because I guess we generally, for the most part, I think American chocolate isn't made with cocoa butter, and European chocolate is, so it has a different quality to it. Yeah. So
it also just, a lot of it depends on what you're used to.
Sure.
Like American chocolate tends to be sweeter and European chocolate tends to be smoother, and that may be due to the cocoa butter. Although yes. I would be surprised if there wasn't any cocoa butter in American milk chocolate. Yeah. That would surprise me to find that out.
I'm not sure what I don't know what the ingredients are, what the process is like.
Hershey's Kisses are much more grainy than what I've typically experienced, like Lindt or Linder chocolates.
That's a fun fact from Sarah. It says, fun fact, a lot of U.S. chocolate are technically classified as poisonous in the UK.
Now, in fairness, as I'm aware of it, Smarties in the UK are not the same thing as Smarties in the US.
Because Smarties here are like little hard candy, or not hard candy, but they're like little tablets.
Crumbly, crumbly candy, yeah. And they're not great.
And they're definitely not chocolate.
But at the same time, Sarah Scott, whatever it is, those little oranges that have toys in them, and you go crack, and they open up, and there's little crappy little toys inside.
Chocolate. Oh my God, yes.
No, because you can get the orange chocolates.
No,
it's the Kinder ones.
Yes,
Kinder
okay,
eggs.
yes, that's right. Yeah, those are
because they've got the toys inside, and people get up in arms like, well, why can't we have Kinder eggs? And it's like because there's stuff inside the chocolate, and just based on the laws here, because there was the scare where people were putting like razor blades and apples and
Right.
stuff for Halloween. So we're
Right.
like, you can't sell candy or you can't sell food that has like non-food inside it.
Right.
And that includes things like Kinder eggs.
Even
Yeah,
though
exactly. Right.
even though the Halloween candy scare is pretty much an urban
Yeah.
myth. Yeah, like
Yeah.
that never actually happened. Nobody ever really put razor blades in apples or
It's
poisoned
like
candy or anything like that.
D&D being a cult.
Yes, or like just
Blue Leaf, I can't live without you.
or like the satanic panic in general. Like I mean,
Yeah.
D&D was drawn into that, but the whole in the early '80s, the whole satanic panic in general was just it was completely fictional. Like it never happened anywhere.
Absolutely. Like my mom, I've told you, I think that my mom was worried about me. And I didn't even realize it until like months later because at the time, I loved gardenia scents. So I would get like, the cheapo quarter gardenia little tea light candles. And I'd have like a bunch of them because you can get them for a quarter.
Oh
And
yeah,
I burned a bunch of them while I soaked in the bathtub because I love soaking in the bathtub. Um, and this was before. Now it's just like Epsom salts. Just
yeah,
dump that in the tub.
just a
You're
whole
good to
box.
go. Don't have to worry about something burning or like my hair getting into it. No, don't worry about that. And my mom, it later she told me that she was worried that because I was burning all these white candles. And I'm like, they were white because gardenia scented candles were white. And just like, oh, and I'm just like, we need
Yeah, like I wasn't
like
trying to summon the dark one or anything.
or like commune with spirits or anything like
Yeah,
that. Not just they smell pretty.
you'd be like, if I wanted to commune with spirits, I just use my trusty Ouija board, and you pull that out.
Those I don't know. Maybe they're not expensive. I don't
They're
know.
not. What a
That's
Ouija! I mean, I guess you could get a nice. Actually, did you ever? There was a the first. I think it was the first Paranormal Activity movie, which and they made like 4 or 5 of them now. Which I'm just like, all right, I saw the first one. I'm good. Um, it's like okay, it's not great, but but there's a scene in the first Paranormal Activity where they think they live in a haunted house, and so they're trying to contact the spirits using a Ouija board, and this dude gets like the nicest fucking Ouija board I've ever seen. It's like stained wood and the little moving piece thing that I can't remember the name of. um
planchette.
what the planchette, yes, the planchette. It's
I
like
don't know
it's like
why I know that.
it's made out of like stained wood, and it's like Jesus, you could
Well,
have
what
just
else is
gone.
it supposed to be made of?
Well, just go to Walmart and get a Ouija board from the toy section. Just what difference does it make? I have one
Aren't
over
they?
there. It's made out
I've
of like
always seen them in
paper and
movies, and they're made
plastic.
of wood.
Somebody's spending way too much money on a Ouija board. Where do you even get a nice Ouija board like that? He must have ordered that off of like a website or something.
I don't know. I don't know, Steve. I can't
I
tell
got
you.
one.
We
I
go
got
back
one
to the
as
book.
I got one
We
as a
go back
prop
to
for
the
a
book.
video. Yes, yes, yes. So
You have one? Where is it?
a Ouija board?
Yeah.
It's in the next room.
Okay. Well, like next time we do this, you'll have to show it off and be like, "This is the Ouija board." Is it plastic or something?
Yeah, it's just a cheap Ouija board from Walmart. Yeah,
Okay, I'll
because
take your word for it. I've only ever seen them in like wood.
wow, yeah, I've seen that's we're opposite ends of the spectrum because I have never in person I have never seen one in wood. I've always seen just like the retail
Speaking of cool
version.
things that are in wood, have you seen the rotating round table that gets bigger when you rotate it one way and smaller when it rotates the other one?
I believe I have. Yes, yes,
Oh, cool. Anyway, let's go back to the book.
yes. Anyway, um, so
We need to finish up too because I'm out of booze.
okay, well, we're on the last chapter.
Good.
So after her disappointment at the library, she goes back to her room at the YWCA, and she's kind of bummed and she's kind of moping a little bit. And then she says, "Oh, here, I know what I'll do. I'll go to employment agencies and I'll just present myself, for work there." And as it turns out, there's an employment agency right there in the YWCA, and all she has to do is just go down to the office.
Which makes you wonder why she went to the library in the first. I guess because she thought she's like, I'm smart. I have like I'm a scholar. Libraries have books. They like scholarly people, right?
I think that was her idea. Yeah.
And then she's like, okay. So she was thinking more scholarship and less job, and she needed to be thinking job.
Yes, exactly. By the way, this link to a Ouija board on eBay that Radical Bacon dropped into the chat. This $400 Ouija board. Uh,
Ooh, I'm curious.
yeah, it's. I think the one that they had in the movie was even nicer than this one. So I don't know how much that fucking thing cost, but this is a very nice Ouija board. I mean, it ought to be. It's fucking
No,
four
no,
hundred
no.
dollars,
Yeah, but this one is a talking board.
and it's Hellboy merch. So it's like movie. It's a movie tie-in.
Yeah.
Um, but
Eh.
anyway, yeah, it's a talking Ouija board. Kind of defeats the whole purpose of a Ouija board, but whatever. Um, but yeah, so she decides she's going.
Sarah, no, 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 no. I don't buy booze at bars. I mean, booze is expensive enough as it is. If I'm going to a bar, I forget. I know what it was. We were listening to Slash the Tires song. Before He Cheats, and she's making fun of this other girl that apparently her boyfriend, her doesn't yet know he's her ex-boyfriend, is cheating on her with. And one of the lines is, he's probably getting her a fruity little drink because she can't shoot whiskey. And I was just like I usually don't shoot whiskey, but I mean, I can sip whiskey, I can enjoy whiskey, but like if I'm going to a bar, like I can pour myself a shot of whiskey at home. It
Right,
takes zero skill. If I'm going to a bar and I'm paying bar prices, you darn right I'm getting a mixed drink. And something first of all that takes multiple bottles that I may not have all of the different things.
right,
Whiskey, it's one thing. I can get the one thing, I can get the one I like. Additionally, knowing how much of each thing and how to pour it in, how much of it was, that takes skill. Pouring whiskey does not take significant skill the way mixing drinks does. So no, if I'm going to a bar, I'm getting that fruity little drink because that actually takes skill to make. And I don't have to make it, and I ain't got to clean it up. Well, the cleaning up you got to do either way. But the principle, still, if I'm just getting like straight booze or something, I mean, that was a mixed drink. But that was like, it's like, did I measure it? Nope. It was like, okay, so I'm starting with the blue curacao. Okay, pour that. Okay, that looks good. Vodka's pretty strong. So I'm not going to put a whole lot of that in there because I don't want it to taste bad. Oop, there's a little bit of vodka. Okay, let's finish the rest off with soda because that's sweet and tasty.
I don't see why you have to be so aggressive.
I like my drinks.
I know. I know.
Well, that's why. Let's go back and finish off this book.
Let's finish off the book, and then we can wrap this up, and you can go get some booze.
Heck yeah.
So she decides she's going to go to the employment office, and she says, "I'm going to go to the employment office the very first thing tomorrow morning." But then she waits 3 more days because she just can't get up for it. Like she's just, it's like, oh, I didn't think I'd have to do
because
this.
she knows that she's like, not just, she thinks she's better than that. Like it's not what she's trained for. It's not what she's good at. And like, she does value what she has learned and been trained to do. Like, she values teaching and she values her skill that she's developed. And she knows that she's going to be like a starting level worker at whatever it is she's doing. Cause she can't cook and blah, 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 where was it? She can't cook. She can't, what was the other thing? She can't sew.
Yeah.
So like she can do like basic house cleaning, but again, she's going to be like, down there. And so that reduction in status, that stings, and she has skills, but she's not going to get to use them.
Well, yeah, that's what she discovers when she goes to the employment office, because when she gets up to the desk and she says, "Hey, I want a job, give me a job," and the woman at the desk says, "Well, what are your references?" And she tells her teaching credentials. I went to college here and I've been teaching here for the last few years, and those are her references. And the girl at the employment office says, "Oh, well, we don't really have your kind of work. We mostly give like, domestic type stuff." And
she's like, "I'll take that." And they're like, "Yeah, but you don't have any of that."
Yeah. You don't have any references for that. And we don't
have any experience.
Yeah. And we don't send people out without references,
And this is so much like, it's like, you want an entry level job, but for the entry level job, they're like, how many years of experience do you have? And you're like, this is an entry level
Yeah.
job.
Like,
What the heck is wrong with you? Why do I need experience in an entry level job?
right. I thought,
Like
what does
by
entry level
definition.
mean? If I need references to get it, what does entry level mean? Yeah.
Ugh.
So she's again, she's disappointed, but she goes around to other employment offices around the city, many of them, and she gets the same story at all of them, is that they don't have
Yeah.
her, they don't have academic work that she would be suited for. It's all domestic stuff. She doesn't have those kind of references. They can't help her. So she's running out of money. She's skipping meals, and she's starting
I
to get a
liked,
little, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I liked this line. A few men, both white and black, offered her money,
Yes.
but the price of the money was too dear. I like that. I like that phrasing. The
Yeah,
price of the money.
the
That's
price of
interesting.
the money. Yeah, it's a good phrasing, and it's, you know exactly what that is without
Yeah.
having to be too explicit about it. Um, and it just says she did
Pumpkin
not.
spice season radical bacon. Woo!
And also, I mean, it just says she did not feel inclined to pay it. Like, it doesn't necessarily denigrate sex work, although this is from the 1920s. So if it did start to denigrate sex work, it wouldn't surprise me. But, in that particular passage, like, it's not like, oh God, no, oh Jesus, I would never debase myself like that. It's just, no, I'm not doing that. It's not, it
Yeah,
doesn't,
but
it does.
the fact that it says the price of the money was too dear, it's a very general statement.
Yes.
Not that they weren't offering enough, but there is the
What
sense
she
that she
would,
was above that.
well, and yeah, yeah. Um, so she's, and she even, she, at one point, she even goes to church, which is not something she usually does. We're told that she was not religious. She went to church because she was hoping that one of those good Christian people would ask her how she was doing, or ask her if she knew anybody in town, or if she needed a place to stay, or basically if she could get like someone at the church to notice her and help her out. This did not happen.
The problem is she went to the Episcopalian church. You don't go to the Episcopalian church for like, friendship.
Go to the
Now, in
Lutheran
fairness,
church.
maybe now this would have been the AME, before it was the AME. I know this because they joined up with the Methodists. Did you know
Aha.
that, Steve?
I did not.
Yeah, the African. Although this is just the Negro Episcopal Church, which may have been
Yes.
different from the African Episcopal Church. So, but that became the African Methodist Episcopal Church. But anyway, Episcopalians in general, they're an offshoot of the Church of England.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so they're
Anglican.
very
Yeah.
high liturgical, and they tend to be very sort of, in terms of the ritualistic and sort of standoffish, and like, we do our practices, and your faith is very personal, and we have our space. Like,
Yes.
this is, your faith is very personal, and we're not huggy.
Yes.
We're not nurturing, and I mean, each congregation is going to be different, but I'm just like,
Yeah.
you went to the Episcopalians.
Yeah.
They, greet your neighbor type things. That's the
It's
wrong church.
I mean, it's too bad for her, but I mean, for folks like me, Episcopalians are about as good as religious folks get, because they,
Yeah, because they don't talk to you. It's great.
because they worship their God and they have their beliefs and it's important to them, but they keep it the fuck to themselves.
But they
God
do it
bless
together.
you. They do.
But they
Oh,
do it
yes,
together.
yes. They do it together. But yeah. But anyway, so that doesn't work. So she's, things are not going well, and then she gets back to her room, and there's a note from Ida, who is the woman in the employment office at the YWCA, and it says, "Hey, come down to the office. We have something for you." So she goes down to the office, and they say, "Hey, so we've got a job that we think you might be good for." And there's a woman who is going on a lecture tour, and she wants someone to travel with her and to help her with her speeches and to just kind of look after her, while she's traveling around. And we'll pay you $25 plus expenses. And but
I liked the language here is just really well done. Um, she goes down to the room, quote, where she had first felt the smallness of her commercial value.
Oh, yes, yes.
It's just beautiful, beautiful. And it describes that she's walking straighter and holding her head higher because I mean they see her coming back.
Yeah. After they told her they didn't have anything for her.
Well, no, but I mean they see her, she doesn't like leave saying, okay, I've got like a nicer place. The fact that she keeps coming back to the YWCA to
Yes.
live there,
So they know where she,
is
yeah.
further
Yeah.
evidence of her continued lack of success at getting
Yeah.
a job.
That's a good
And
point.
so the people working the desk know that, and she knows that they know that. And so she's walking even more erect than before and holding her head higher and, looking down her nose at them because she has been to college and she is a teacher and she is, she is Helga Crane,
Yeah.
don't you know? And her additional arrogance passed unnoticed by those for whom it was assumed. They're like, yeah, she stuck up. I love that so much. But like, there's so much about, people who are between jobs and are acting stuck up because they have that sense of a lack of, they are being made, because of our capitalist society, they are being made to feel that they are worth, their value is diminished. Not just their value in terms of their commercial value, but that also makes them call into question their intrinsic value. And so they do stand straighter and they do sort of like, they get defensive, and we're seeing that in her, but like, that's making me think of, like the conversation that I had on Twitter about the food at schools and how schools that have a low poverty population, if they are choosing, the one school in Wisconsin was choosing to refuse the federal aid to allow all students to have provided breakfast and lunch free of additional charge to the families. And the fact that, people in discussing this said that there are always families who, don't get the opportunity to fill out the forms or just won't do it because of pride. And that sense of, I should be, what's wrong with me that I can't provide for my kids? And it's just, it shouldn't matter. Like, we should all provide for our kids, whether they're ours biologically, whether we're the ones raising them or not.
Right. We as a society.
Yeah. Like, there shouldn't be a reason for Helga to feel bad about herself. And like, we don't get any indication that people are deliberately making her feel bad, but it's just this general social milieu. And I think that's something that's consistent, that still exists today. That if you don't have a job, if you're not productive in the sense of, wage labor or, something like that, if you don't have a job, there's something, you are defective. You're a burden on society. And it's just like, can we get away from that? That would be nice. Let's get away from that. And it's something that I think is still it really it seems completely relevant.
Yeah.
Like there's no change. There's a lot of change in like some of the language and some of the, like that she's just like, she just got on a train from, Atlanta to Chicago, which like, I can see it would be more like taking a bus.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like, no, it's a train because that's the time period. But, there's a lot that's, setting appropriate, but this is just seems much more universal.
Yeah.
Alas.
Indeed. But she resents how certain they are at the employment office that she's going to take the job, but she pushes that back because she's now,
because she needs the job.
She tells her so. I think she says, she couldn't afford anger. Like, she's down to $5. She's down to her last $5. And she's like, well, they're right. I do need to take the job. Like, she can't afford to be, haughty at
Choosy.
this point. Yeah, exactly. So she's supposed to go meet this woman, Mrs. Hayes Roar is her name, and she's supposed to go meet her so that she can, get, they just see if she's acceptable for the job. So she goes to see her that night, and
$25 was not to be looked at with nose and air when one was the owner of but five.
yes, indeed.
And meals for 4 days at least.
So yeah, exactly. She knows that she's gonna get. As long as she's on the trip with Mrs. Hayes Roar, she knows that her expenses will be covered. And she's got $25 on top of it. And we find out later in the chapter that her ultimate plan is to go with Mrs. Hayes Roar to New York City and then to stay there when this job is over. But first, she goes to Mrs. Hayes Roar's house and meets her. And it says of Mrs. Hayes Roar, she had a tart personality and prying. She approved of Helga after asking her endless questions about her education and her opinions on the race problem, none of which she was permitted to answer, for Mrs. Hayes Roar either went on to the next or answered the question herself by remarking, "Not that it matters. If you could only do what I want done, and the girls at the Y said that you could, I'm on the board of managers, and I know they wouldn't send me anybody who wasn't all right." So that's Mrs. Hayes Roar. And she says to Helga, "Oh, I'm sure you'll do." you know, like you'll be fine. You'll be fine. And she says, be here tomorrow at 9. I'm leaving at 11. And that was that. So she's like, cool, got a job. And on her way home, on her way back to her room is when she decides that when she gets to New York, she's going to remain in New York. And it says, she says, Helga reviewed the plan which she had formed while in the lecturing one's presence to remain in New York. There would be $25 and perhaps the amount of her return ticket. Enough for a start. Surely she could get work there. Everybody did. Anyway, she would have a reference. So,
bonus!
Yay! And I love how she's already assuming, like you can tell she's starting to think like someone in the situation where it's like, I need money, I need money, I need money. She's already thinking, oh, if she buys me my return ticket, but I don't use it, I can cash the ticket in, or maybe she'll just give me cash. And, and then I just won't have to buy the ticket. I can just stay. Like the gears are already turning of, how much money can
counting the eggs before they've hatched.
Yeah. Well, and also like thinking of how she can, trying to extract the maximum amount of dollars from this job. Yeah. Like if.
And I love surely she could get work. She's in Chicago.
Yeah, I know, which is a big city.
That to New York.
She's going to New York. Well, maybe
had trouble getting work in Chicago, but in New York, like, not going to be a problem.
Yeah, she's.
But she does have a reference.
A reference.
She has a reference. Now she hasn't done the job yet, so she better do a good job, because I don't know, but I've always assumed that having a bad reference would be worse than having.
That's true.
If she's only got one reference and it's bad.
She's assuming Mrs. Hayes Roar is going to give her a good reference.
Yeah, she's assuming a whole lot.
But so she gets back to the Y, and she goes back to the employment office, and because it says ostensibly her reason is to thank them for recommending her for the job, but the real reason is she wants to pump them for information about this woman that she's about to go on this tour with. And so, she goes into the office. She's like, oh, hey, thanks. It's going to be great. I took the job. I'm going to leave tomorrow. Oh, by the way, is there anything about Mrs. Hayes Roar that I should know? Just because I feel like, she's helping me out and I want to make sure I do a good job. So if there's anything that I need to know about her, could you? And the girls at the employment office
they start laughing.
They laugh.
Like, oh, we got stuff.
And
we don't find out what it is yet. So
no, because that's the end of the chapter. Yeah, it says we'll be through here in 10 minutes. If you're not busy, come in and have your supper with us, and we'll tell you all about her. So that's the end of the chapter. We really get the impression, especially in chapter 6, just as we got in the chapters we read last time, not just of how egotistical she is, and of how naive she is, but of how impressionable she is.
Mhm.
Because when she's, and I mean, to a certain degree, it's understandable because when she's in Chicago and she's starving and she doesn't know when she's going to get a job or if she's going to get money or anything, the world is just falling apart around her. It's gloomy. It's terrible. She
Yeah.
puts off going to the employment office for 3 days because she just can't face it. And then after she meets with Mrs. Hayes Rohr, oh,
Everything's coming up roses.
exactly. Everything is beautiful, and it even says in the end of the chapter, after
Even
she
the advertisements seemed to shine like silver.
yeah, the signs in the shop windows were shined with radiance or something. And but
Hi,
even
Sarah. Thank you for coming in and talking with us.
oh yeah, bye Sarah. We're almost done anyway. But but yeah, and when she goes back to the employment office and they're laughing about Mrs. Hayes' roar, and it says Helga laughed with them, surprised that she hadn't perceived before how really likable they were. It's like everything changes. She's like, you know what? These are good girls. I like these girls. I never realized how cool they were before because now she has a job and now they seem nice, and they're like,
Because
oh,
she's in a good mood.
yeah, and it's like
So, Jake
everything
Grant, I'm
changes.
curious here. You say brave person, I think a woman, a colored person speaking about a very contentious issue that could threaten her life. I'm guessing you're talking about Mrs. Hayes Rohr?
I would presume, yeah, and the lecturing about the race problem.
Yes.
Yes. Um, well, I would imagine it's on a circuit to go speak to other black folks because I mean those kinds of things did exist. There was like a sort of separate but equal
Yeah.
circuit
Well, I
of
mean, you had your black. I mean, Helga went to a university.
yeah, speaking at black schools, speaking at black churches, black community groups. There was a sort of a separate
So
black
yeah, I
yeah
don't think there's much of, as long as she's careful with what she says, because she's speaking to black audiences.
right.
It just depends. So yes, it obviously could threaten her life, but
Yeah. And it is. I mean, you're
not necessarily any more dangerous than Helga turning down the white men who offer her money.
well,
You know,
and you can
before.
see, you can see in this book, and also just if you know anything about the the black experience in American history on up to today, but I mean even more so back in the mid century, it was dangerous for a black person to travel. Period.
Yeah.
I
Or
mean,
exist.
oh
So
yeah, yeah, to or exist, but I mean, especially if you're traveling cross country. I mean,
yeah.
when a white person travels cross country, we think like, oh, I hope I don't run out of gas, or oh, I hope I don't miss my bus, or I hope I can afford to stay in a hotel, blah blah blah. A black person, especially in the early 20th century, would think all of those things, and also, oh, I hope I don't get killed because I say the wrong thing.
Or can I
You
just
know,
like not meet any white folks?
yeah, yeah. So but so yeah, it's. I mean, just existing and traveling from place to place potentially could threaten your life. In addition to speaking about contentious issues and being
Yeah.
being the wrong kind of black person or whatever. But yeah, so that's the end of chapter 6. I'm still really liking the book. I'm curious to follow Helga's adventure with
I
Mrs.
don't
Hayes
much
Rohr
like
here.
Helga, but it is definitely interesting.
I find her I don't know if I necessarily like her, but I don't actively dislike her. You know what I
Because she ain't
mean?
rich.
Well, there's that. Yeah. Oh, but see, I think that's important. I think the fact that she has been reduced to relatively humble circumstances
Through
uh
her own
through her own
choices.
choices, and it helps I think it helps with the likability of her character. Because she does have this sort of wounded pride, and
Bless your heart.
she's forced to exist in, I mean, she's a black person, and she's at even a lower rung in the black community because she's half white. So I mean, she's experienced this before, but you
Well, and
get
also
the
she's female.
and she's female. So I mean, but you get the impression that all of her years teaching at Naxos, that she's gotten comfortable there and she got accustomed to it. So even though there were problems, obviously, and there was, there are all these things that contributed to her wanting to leave, she still got used to a certain quality of life. And now
Yeah.
all of that is gone, and she
Like
has to
having
deal with
regular
that.
meals, you know?
Yes, exactly. Like having regular. Now, Rose, I'm glad you mentioned that. I was thinking of Lovecraft Country, and the character in Lovecraft Country whose job is to write travel guides for Black Americans to let them know where are the safe places to stop when you're on the road. Um, yeah, I was thinking of Lovecraft Country too, and we were talking about that a minute ago. Um, but yeah, so I'm enjoying it so far, and I'm curious to see what happens next. And in 2 weeks, we'll be back to talk about chapters 7, 8, and 9. So if you are reading along with us, make sure you have the next 3 chapters read for the next episode of Read Away.
You know, or not. Just come join us.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
No,
of course.
I mean, there's no points off for late work in my classroom.
Exactly, and there will not be a test. You know, if you are choosing to read along with us, that's wonderful, and we encourage you to do that. But if you're not, come
That's
watch and
okay
talk
too.
with us anyway. Oh, thank you, Jay, for the super chat. I appreciate it. It says, I've never been part of a book club before. I've spoken about books with friends. We're not cretins, LOL. Thanks heaps for letting me gate crash. The least I can do is buy some stuff. Well, thank you very much. You are welcome anytime, whether you help us buy some snacks or not. Yeah, just, and what Radical Bacon says, come hang out, goof off in the chat.
Exactly. Week after next.
Absolutely. And we'll be
We'll be
back.
goofballs.
We'll be back on Wednesday for the next Trek Reluctantly, where we'll watch the concluding chapter of the 3-part season premiere of season 2 of Deep Space Nine, which is called The Siege. And then I'll be back a week from tonight for the next Ask Away. Our video on Batman the Animated Series that we recorded together will be up on Monday. And then at some point in the near-ish future, we will get back together again to do a comment response video to that, and also to my Batman video. Yeah, Radical. There is wrestling tonight, but it doesn't start till 10.
Oh yeah, sleep. I will be asleep by then.
Yes, you will be asleep. Well, you weren't going to watch wrestling anyway, were you?
No, because I was going to go to sleep.
Well, but I mean, even if it had been on like earlier, it's not. I mean, wrestling was never in your plans,
dude. Like even when we do like when on Wednesdays when wrestling starts at 8, that's still like literally 7:50. My alarm goes off and says bedtime routine.
Yeah,
like 8:00 is when I start getting ready for bed. I'm not necessarily in bed at 8, but like my goal is 9.
The process has begun.
Yes.
So anyway, yeah, I will be. So in a few hours, or I guess a little 2.5 hours, a little bit less. I'll be watching wrestling.
I manage it, man.
I manage it on Friday night because I want to see that wrestling.
Got priorities.
I need to see my man CM Punk, and now Bryan Danielson is there. I need to see Bryan Danielson, the American Dragon, baby. The American Dragon is back. He's going to kick somebody's head in. I need to see it.
He's going to kick their ass, Steve.
He's going to kick their ass.
If you don't kick their ass, then they're gonna kick his ass.
I want to see him kick all the asks. It's funny because he made his debut at the pay-per-view last week, and it was just a couple weeks after CM Punk came in. And one of the things Punk had said, both on the actual show and in sort of out of character interviews, was he says, well, one of the things I want to do here is I want to work with the young talent, and I want to, if I can be like a teacher and a mentor like to the young talent, that would be great, right? Bryan Danielson came in, and they were doing like a media scrum after the show, and he came in to answer some questions, and he said, I think it's great that if Punk and these other guys want to come in and be mentors to the young people, I think that's awesome. I just want to kick somebody's head in. And I'm like, oh God, I love you, man. Like, because he's a wrestler, and in the fictional world of wrestling, like you're not there to mentor people. You're a fighter. You're there to win fights. So he's saying, I'm going to come in. I want to fight these guys, and I want to beat their asses. Like, that's my job.
Oh, Radical Bacon, are you not familiar with that? Oh my goodness, it's old.
Kick their ass.
Showing my age. Kick their ass. You might have to include that, add that link to the description.
Yes, I'll see if I can find it.
Yeah,
and
so
add it,
Radical Bacon, come back and check the description. But yeah, there's this, what happens when you ask a 3-year-old about monsters. He's gonna kick my ass.
He's gonna kick my ass.
No, I have. What did you say you were gonna do to him? I'm gonna kick his ass.
So cute.
Because he was gonna kick my. Because I have to kick his ass. He was gonna kick my. He was gonna come out of the television. He was gonna kick my ass. Okay, honey. Also, Steve, don't forget about the charity links.
Charitylinks.page. Thank you very much. I almost did forget.
Which already is in the description.
Is in the description.
And by we, I mean you. You're not going to have to put it in the so.
Yes.
Yes, we have friends who are in difficult situations and could use some help. And helping people is good.
Helping people is very good.
Yeah, helping people is all kinds of good. So if you have the financial opportunity to do so and you choose to do so, you can look in the description, charitylinks.page, which is curated by our friend and quasi-producer, some random
unofficial producer, yes.
Unofficial. And alas, unpaid, Steve. Jeez. No benefits, nothing. And
that's right. Welcome to capitalism, buddy.
We live in a capitalist society, some random geek. Get used to it. So yeah, the people in there, so there's some PayPals
and like crowdfunding, yeah.
So different links. But yeah, you can find out some information there and help out people who could use some help.
Yes. And by the way, I found the kick his ass video and I added it to the description already.
So just reload this sucker.
Just reload it and there it is.
And seriously, you need to watch that because it's so cute.
Yeah, and it's short. So it's like a minute long. It's adorable. So anyway,
totally worth it. Loop that sucker.
Just watch it over and over and over.
I might ask you to GIF that for me. Actually, I could probably GIF it for myself.
I'll GIF it for you.
I'm gonna go to bed.
Okay. Yeah, I'll GIF it for you. Check your messages tomorrow. I'll have it for you.
Woo-hoo!
Do you just want the whole thing or?
No, a whole minute.
What do you? I know. But what do you just want? I'm gonna kick his ass.
What are you gonna do? I'm gonna kick his ass. Whatever the cutest I'm gonna kick his ass is.
Okay, I got it. I'll do it for you. But
I'm also gonna look next week. Not next week, but week after next when we do this. I'm gonna look. We'll include my favorite Disneyland, my favorite Disney World memory. I've shown you that one, haven't I?
Have you?
When we were watching the parade and I saw Peter Pan and he had green lights, Peter Pan had green lights all over his body. And I said, Peter Pan. And then Peter Pan came over to me and he said, do you want to be a real fairy princess? And I said, yes. And he said, well, slap my hand. I think that's the moment I want. Well, slap my hand.
Well, slap my hand.
And I did. And then he turned all white. And now I want to marry Peter Pan. I love Peter Pan. He's my favorite person. I love Peter, so I want to marry him because I love Peter Pan. It's like, adorable. That is like it's the cutest video in the world. Kick his ass is a very close second.
Wow, that does sound adorable. I don't know if you have shown me that one, but anyway,
I will find it and I will show it to you. I will send it to you in message.
Awesome.
All right. Good night, everybody. Thank you all so much. You made my day get better at the end. I appreciate all of you who came here and chat.
And I appreciate it too. So, thanks for watching, everybody. See you next time. Have a good weekend.
Bye.